favorite book, the book I'm currently reading, and the book I will be reading after the book I am currently reading. And hopefully, by tapping the covers and flipping through the pages, maybe even reading a couple segments, it'll be really nice. I'm really hoping so. So, yeah. Come with me, and we'll be on a world of pure imagination. So, I'm gonna start with my favorite book, which I've mentioned before, which is The Three Musketeers. Although technically it's more about the Four Musketeers. Yeah, because can I do this one-handed? Not really. Oh wait, I kind of can. Alright, perfect. Yeah, so The Three Musketeers. It's a really misleading name because sure there are three musketeers, but you actually follow four people, and technically you're following 8 people, and then there's also Captain Treville, and it's just like it's like what? Cause so you got the Three Musketeers, you got Athos, Porthos, and Aramis, and they're actual licensed musketeers with what's the word? I forget the word, but anyways, and then you've got D'Artagnan, and D'Artagnan is technically just like a regular city guard, because he comes to France, he comes to Paris, where he actually meets those Three Musketeers, and within an afternoon challenges each of them separately without knowing that they know each other. He challenges each of them separately to a duel because either they insulted him in some way or he insulted them in some way, and it was just like, wow. But then they become friends because along comes the bad guys, henchmen. I say bad guy because the Cardinal is kind of a bad guy, but he's kind of just like, he's like the first minister or something like that, and he's technically a bad guy. He's the antagonist, but he's just doing what he does for France, and it just so happens that these guys get in the way of it a lot. So yeah, it was written by Alexander Dumas. He was the 18th century. 19th century author, I believe. Yeah, and just he was a funny guy. There was I'm not gonna say it. I want to say it because it's actually really funny. It's a sick burn. He really burned a guy, but yeah. Anyways, so let's see. Can I do page flippings? I just found it a very fun read. There's sword fights, there's duels, there's, a queen in need of help. Actually, the queen is having an affair with a guy from England, and these guys help her get away with it, which I'm always a fan for sordid love affairs. There's a bunch going on, and then there's once the white whale. 135 chapters. The white whale is in the final 3 chapters. So there is 132 chapters where literally nothing happens. Like, you get introduced to the characters for like the first 25 chapters. There's several chapters where he's just where Herman Melville, the author, not even like, one of the characters, the author is describing different types of whales. And then there's like, I'm getting worked up, I gotta calm down, otherwise this won't be calming. I'm getting worked up about this freaking book. So, there are several chapters just describing the different kinds of whales, which I guess maybe when this was released would be interesting to people, but here's the thing. Most people nowadays know the different kind of whales. He's like, oh, well, there's this thing called the killer whale, but it's actually commonly known as the orca, and we're like, we know that. Then there's the blue whale. It's a big whale. It's the biggest whale. We're like, we know that too. Then there's the humpback whale. That's what we like, and it's like, then there's the sperm whale, which is what we, hunt for oil in the whaling industry, and it's just like, then there's the beluga and all that crap, and it's just like, please, just get to the stuff. And then there's an entire chapter dedicated to a character that, so, the main character, Ishmael, he's on the Pequod, which is Ahab's boat, and so he's on that ship, and then another ship pulls up beside them to offload like supplies and stuff, and an entire chapter is wasted describing the man who is steering the ship that is dropping off supplies. And it says in the chapter, like at the beginning or at the end, like, you will not see this character again for the rest of this book. And it's like, so why are you wasting time describing him? Chekhov's gun, Melville, that's all I'm saying. If you describe a gun hanging on a wall in chapter 3, at some point it has to get fired later on. Why do you gotta I'm getting really worked up. I am so sorry. This won't be relaxing at all. This will just be book reviews at this point. But at least it sounds nice. This is the one good thing that came out of this book. It sounds nice. I'm gonna ships are as big as our biggest cities, so it's like, and so they are freaking out, and then the aliens contact like the governments of each world, and it's like, hey, so we come in peace, and we're just gonna basically put up some rules, and obviously people are like, oh no, rules, and the rules are actually just like, okay, so first of all, no more war between your countries, and people are like, okay, and then it's like, second, no more hunting for sport, okay, you can hunt for food, but you can't hunt for sport, and people are like, oh, okay, and then like, some other stuff like, dictators, like they're like, okay, and also like these dictators, these people who are causing human suffering and all that, so they depose them. But here's the thing, obviously people are still like very skeptical, like why would they come millions of miles just to, start imposing, these rules. So some stuff happens, but no one's ever seen an alien at this point. That's only been through like radio messages. And so they're like, so the aliens are like, we'll show ourselves in 50 years, 50 years. And people are like, oh, that's disappointing. I might be dead by the time these aliens show up. And yeah. And so 50 years pass by, and basically no instance. Someone tried to fire a nuke at one of the ships, and people were obviously freaking out because they're like, some idiot fired a nuke at these obviously very advanced, aliens. Who knows how they might retaliate? All that happened was the nuke disappeared. The nuke just disappeared, like it was in flight. It was about to hit the ship, and then it just disappeared. And so, people are like, oh, that was a close call. And then quickly the guy who fired the nuke is obviously dealt with by, Earth. Anyway, so 50 years pass, and the aliens show themselves. And they look like the Christian devil. Like, imagine it, stereotypical devil, horns, tails, red skin. They're like, I think it's like they're 10 feet tall, and they look like the devil. And that's all I'm gonna say on it before, it start. Otherwise I might run the risk of, spoiling things or something like that. But I'll let you think on what the implications would be for that. So, yeah. Like I said, could not put it down. I was blown away by it. Has a pretty fun, it's a fun storyline. Alright. Now, the book I am currently reading. So I should say, I'm working this is much easier to carry around. Anyways, yeah, it's actually not bad. I'm enjoying it. It's about like the Napoleonic War, and like, so it takes place around Russia because Tolstoy was a Russian author. It's like the Russians and how they were fighting Napoleon and like the treaties and stuff. It sounds boring, but it was actually it's really good. I'm enjoying. I thought I'd be like snoozing through it, but I'm actually enjoying it. There's a lot of characters though, like a lot, and so I can't give a good synopsis of this. Yeah, so there's like, there's a whole bunch of things. There's like, treaties involving marriage, there's battles being fought, there's people, commission, that's the word I was looking for earlier. There's, officers buying commission to be like colonels, and like, there are people who are like, oh, I'm, the emperor's, royal guard or something like that, and there's like, yeah, it's very historical, but it's pretty good, all things considered, and it's a big book, so it's gonna take me a while, which I'm okay with. Yeah, this one's all fancy. It's got a hardcover, and it's got a little ribbon to mark your pages, so that's nice. I take excellent care of my books, even the ones I don't like. I treat them each like they're my holy book, like, just cause, part of me wishes I was a bit rougher with them, because it makes so reading hardcovers, I actually open them like, 30 degrees, and I have to like crane my head because I don't want to bend the spine. Yeah, I'm that anal about it. I'm careful with the type of bookmarks I use. I don't want something too thick that'll stretch the spine, and I don't want the fake people that dog ear their pages to like save theirs. Oh no, I can't. My sister is so bad with books. Holy cow! Like, she'll fold the cover over to like read a page, and just like, oh. And yeah, so yeah, would I recommend War and Peace if you're going somewhere for like a long time and you can only bring a single book? Then I'd suggest War and Peace, because it'll take you a while unless you just speed through it, which, I mean, if you're a speed reader, yeah. But yeah, all in all, not a bad read. And after I finally finished War and Peace, I'm going to move on to this absolute unit of a book. It looks bad, but it's got big font, so it just, sounds good, right? Alright, take a guess what you think the book is. Alright, so the book is written by T.H. White. Some of you might know who that is, some of you might not. So I'll tell you the title. I've kept you in suspense long enough. The title of the book is The Once and Future King. And look at this thing. It's like half the width of my face, and I've got a big head. So yeah, Once and Future King, which for those of you who don't know is actually all about like King Arthur and Merlin and the Knights of the Round Table and Camelot. And I am a real sucker for Arthurian legend. The Merlin TV show, oh, loved it. And cried like a baby. Oh man, that final episode killed me. But yeah, so I can't really say much about it because I don't know that much about it. Haven't read it yet, haven't started reading it yet. But yeah, so it's like Guinevere, Sir Lancelot, Sir Gawain, Arthur, Merlin. I imagine that That's gonna drive me nuts now. I look it up, but I don't have any way to look it up. Anyway, so yeah. It sounds nice though. Even I'm like, wow, that sounds awesome. Alright then. I think that is it. I could show you my entire library, but that would take several hours at the least, especially if I decided to talk about them at the length I've been talking about the ones I've been talking about. Because I have a lot of books, and then if I wanted to go a step further, I could talk about my textbooks from my degree, which would definitely bore you to sleep. Hey, maybe that's what I'll do. I got a lot of positive feedback on my boring you to sleep video, so maybe I'll crack open one of my textbooks and just start reading from it. The problem is I run the risk of someone out there, some nerd like me, being interested by what is being spoken about, and so they'll be like, ooh, I want to stay awake, and I'll figure it out. That's another thing. So yeah, I've got several videos in the works that I want to film and get out to you, but other than that, I hope you enjoy this one. I hope you're asleep. Actually, I hope you don't even, I hope you have to rewatch this video because you fell asleep halfway through. Alright then. Yeah. I need to shave. Maybe I'll make a shaving video where I just go completely smooth. Haven't been that in a while. Alright then. I'm stalling. Alright. Good night. Sweet dreams to you. Or I hope you're less anxious. Whatever you use ASMR for.